I got every achievement in Pokemon Fire Red, and you may be asking, how's that even possible? Well, the website Retro Achievements gives this 20-year-old game a total of 61 achievements. Some are quite easy, just beat a gym leader, others are a bit more difficult. If you enjoy, feel free to click the sub button, and here's my full journey of getting every achievement in Pokemon Fire Red. I start off by naming my rival the opposite of Pax. Professor Oak wants me to choose a starter Pokemon, and I choose Bulbasaur, mainly because it's good against Brock, Misty, and Resist Surge. And here's where we can get our first achievement by beating our rival, but on my first go I didn't get so lucky. But it is lucky that I did save before this, and this is going to be a theme in the video about missable achievements. Pretty much, if I miss these achievements, I'd have to restart the game fully again. But on my second attempt, I beat my rival, giving us our first achievement of many. I get the Pokedex from the main man Oak, and now I can start catching every Pokemon I see, because let's just say one of the achievements is going to be needing this later. I'm not going to talk about every Pokemon I catch because it would get very boring very fast, but I'll talk about some of them here and there. With me picking Bulbasaur, my rival has a Charmander and a Pidgey on Route 22, and I need to beat him for another achievement. So I head into Viridian Forest, and on my first encounter, I get the Pokemon I wanted, a Pikachu. I train him up on the low level Pidgeys, and I beat my rival, getting me another achievement. While in Pewter City, I deposit all my Pokemon except Bulbasaur and Pikachu because of this next thing I haven't told you about yet. You get an achievement for just beating the gym leader, but you can also get another one if you use a Pokemon in the level cap of their ace Pokemon, so for Brock 14, and if you use the same amount of Pokemon they do, so for Brock 2, and also you have to play on set mode. So with my two Pokemon, I take on Brock and Bulbasaur one-shots them both, getting me 2 more achievements. I finally get the running shoes and head on to Route 3 to catch my next Pokemon, a Nidoran male. It's mainly because of the Moonstone in Mount Moon, this Pokemon is broken early on. I also catch another Nidoran I need to do for a trade later. Just before Mount Moon, I do the Magikarp trade, which gives me another achievement. While in Mount Moon, both Nidoran and Bulbasaur evolve, and then the Nidoran evolves again because of the Moonstone you can get on the first floor. So I now have a Nidoking, but I still need to be careful of the levels so I don't get past level 21 because of Misty's ace. I fight some Team Rocket grunts, and then I pick a fossil. I choose the Helix fossil, getting me another achievement. Also yes, I caught every Pokemon you can get in the cave and on Route 3. While in Cerulean, I beat my rival with ease. I literally have a 500 base stat total Pokemon, so if I ain't gonna win, then I'd probably never play Pokemon again. This victory also gifts me with another achievement. By the way, I realised that I can get a few more levels before Misty, so I take on Nugget Bridge. It's now time for the gym, and I can still only use 2 Pokemon, so I get rid of Nidoking because he's weak to Misty, so there's no point in using him. Once again, the duo of Pikachu and my starter defeat Misty, getting me 2 more achievements. Also, a little side note, I managed to get an Abra on my first Pokeball, which is cool, I guess. And I also helped Bill become human again, and this is literally never talked about again. On the way to Route 6, I meet the girl I need to trade with and get another achievement and another Pokemon for my Dex, a Nidoran female. Lieutenant Surge's level cap is around 24, and my Pokemon are around 21 and 22. So I need another party member, and I've decided on Hypno. The main reason is, in Fire Red specifically, the only psychic types you can really use is Kadabra, Hypno, or Exeggutor. Starmie and Slowbro are Leaf Green exclusives, and Jinx is Jinx. Also, Exeggutor is kinda late in the Safari Zone, and I want a Pokemon I can use now. I catch Drowsy and also do another trade for a Farfetch, getting me another achievement and another Dex entry. While on the SS Anne, I have to deal with confusion and poison from tentacles. And finally, I get to another rival battle, which I actually nearly lost since I had no healing items and my team was nearly all fainted. But luckily, Nidoking saved me, getting me another achievement. I also get the Cut HM, but this is where things get a bit iffy. If I teach Cut to one of my main Pokemon, I cannot change it for nearly the rest of the game. But I need Cut to get into Surge's gym, and I can only use 3 Pokemon to get there. So I decided on Pikachu, Nidoking, and Farfetch for the Cut HM. I was kind of worried about this since I was only really using 2 Pokemon, but in reality my Pikachu swept with Dig, getting me another 2 achievements. I head through Diglett's cave to get the HM Flash, and then I also do that to trade my Abra for a Mr. Mime. This gets me another achievement and another Dex entry. I now head to Route 9, and I'll be completely honest, I forgot the bike, so that's why you won't be seeing me using it for quite a while. Once in Rock Tunnel, I forgot how long this takes to navigate, and I think it was mainly because I was trying to level up Drowsy against rock Pokemon. Once out of Rock Tunnel, I don't battle my rival just yet. I quickly catch a Growlithe and head to Celadon City. I head up to get the secret Eevee, and I didn't actually get the achievement, and I wasn't sure why. party. Luckily, I just saved before this and tried it again with an empty party space, and this time it actually worked. But I could have completely missed this achievement if I had saved after getting that Eevee. I proceed to get the T for the guards and evolve my Pikachu into a Raichu. Since it had learned Thunderbolt, there was no reason for it not to evolve. I now find my next team member, a Doduo. It's the best normal flying type bird in Gen 1, and I wanted a flying type for obviously Fly and for Erica. I next get the Psychic TM from Mr. Psychic and quickly teach it to Hypno, which evolved just around near Rock Tunnel. Doduo is so good, even in its first stage, it leveled up really fast because it had Tri-Attack, which in Gen 1 is still physical and is great for Doduo. For Erica's gym, I use Hypno since she uses 2 poison types, Doduo and Farfetch again because I need Cut because I can only use 3 Pokemon still. And yeah, pretty much Doduo and Hypno swept Erica, giving me another 2 achievements. I forgot how many gauntlets are in this game, but I go directly to the Rocket hideout to get the Silph Co since I need it. And at this point, the Rocket grunts are more annoying than difficult with poisoning and confusing my Pokemon and they just never hitting. I confront the main man Giovanni and win, nabbing me the Silph Co and another achievement. I then go back for the bike since I'll be needing it for cycling road and to travel faster with my newly acquired bike. I head to Lavender Tower, but at this point I'm a bit higher leveled than him, so once again I win, giving me my next achievement. By the way, these are just the easy ones. Later on they become a lot more difficult. Lavender Tower has always creeped me out a bit because the trainers have some really odd dialogue, but moving on, I confront the Marowak and sadly I don't have a Pokédoll, so I have to make it faint. Mr. Fuji then gives me the Pokeflute, which opens the game up completely. Oh, so yeah, Doduo evolved, but I kinda just forgot to mention it. I take on the Fighting Dojo, which I nearly lost to because their Pokemon are 5 levels above mine, but Dotrio wins it for me. This gives me my next achievement. I pick Hitmonlee because I prefer him more, but it won't matter, I'll be getting them all for later down the line. I proceed to grind up Ivysaur to evolve to a Venusaur, and Venusaur is so good in Gen 1 because it evolves the earliest out of all of them. Yeah, if you never knew that, Bulbasaur evolves the earliest at 32 instead of 36 like the rest of them. It's now time to get Snorlax, which I need to capture it for the Dex and an achievement, and I managed to do it on my first try. I was tempted to use him, but I wanted a water type more, so I held out. I get the Super Rod from the Fisherman and start to hunt for a lot of the water types I'll be needing later down the line. I even went back to Viridian City to get a Poliwhirl, the water type I'm going to be using because of the fighting water typing it has. Oh yeah, also I picked up the old Amber while I was near, and this got me another achievement. Getting the evolution stones in Gen 1 is just so easy, so I evolve him straight away, and I'm going to get Surf soon, and I can buy the Brick Break TM for cheap, so I evolve him, getting myself a Poliwrath. With a full team of 6, I head down to Route 13. Koga and Sabrina have the same level cap at 43, and my Pokemon are in the low 30s, so I defeat as many trainers as I can. I even pick up the EXP share, which will be very handy later on. It was now time for the Safari Zone. This place is infamous for being incredibly annoying. There are 4 Pokemon I need to catch that you can't get anywhere else: Scyther, Chansey, Tauros, and Kangaskhan. All of them have one place in the Safari Zone where they spawn at a 4% encounter rate, but they also have a high fleeing rate, so catching them can be incredibly annoying. I catch a few of the easier Safari Zone Pokemon first and head into the east area. And I'm not kidding when I say this, on my 3rd encounter I got a Kangaskhan, and somehow I got it on my first Pokeball, which has never happened before. This saved me quite a bit of time because I was next going for Chansey, and I used this tactic, which I'm pretty sure all of you know, but if you lightly tap the direction you want to go, it doesn't count as an actual step, but you can still get encounters, which means you'll be able to use all of your 30 of the Safari Balls to try and capture a Pokemon you want. It takes around 3 chances to actually catch it, and this gives me an achievement just for catching it. I hold off on the other 2 encounters to get Surf. I then take on Koga with Nidoking, Raichu, Poliwrath, and Hypno, since these are the best ones to take on Poison. This gym is so frustrating because all of the bloody Poison and Confusions once again, and the bulky Psychic types. With Koga, it's quite simple. All I had to do was put Pokemon to sleep with Hypnosis, Psychic them, and this rewards us with 2 more achievements. I head onto Cycling Road just to catch a Fearow, and it's now time to get the other 2 Safari Pokemon. On my 4th Tauros, I managed to capture it, and only 1 more to go. And on my 3rd Cypher, I had now captured them all. And this was actually less annoying than I had thought it would have been. I then head to do 2 more trades, one for a Nidorina and one for a Jinx. This gives me 2 more achievements. I decide to head back to Pallet Town and surf south to get a Tangler and to revive my 2 fossil Pokemon. I do a bit of EXP grinding on the water routes, and now it's time for Silph Co. I'm pretty sure there are at least 20 Rocket Grunts in this building, and I finally find the key card, and I've played so much Pokemon Gen 1 that I know where the teleporters are. My rival challenges me once again, and the reward is, you guessed it, another achievement. But it's not the only one we can get here, because we are gifted with a Lapras, which is another Dex entry and another achievement to the list. But if you think we're only getting 2 achievements in Silph Co, you'd be wrong, because with defeating Giovanni, it rewards us with another one. And yeah, I guess we get the Master Ball, but that's not really important, we're here for achievements. It is now time for Sabrina. And Sabrina in Gen 1 is very difficult because there are no dark types and the only steel type is Magneton. My best hope is with Hypno and the move Thief, which in Gen 1 is special. On my first attempt, I got wiped by her Alakazam. On my second attempt, it was a good start. I had all 4 of my Pokemon left alive against Alakazam, but once again, I got wiped. But on my third try, I put Alakazam to sleep and Dotrio one-shot him with a tri-attack. Thank the Lord. That gives me 2 more achievements and we are now about halfway there. It's Cinnabar Mansion time, and if you've never played this before, it's where Mewtwo was created. But moving on, I head into the basement, which I grab at the secret key, which is for the fire gym. But before that, I head into the Seafoam Islands just to quickly capture a few Pokemon. And by the way, I haven't mentioned that much that I have been catching a lot of Pokemon, because like I said at the beginning, there is an achievement we need for all the Pokemon. I then head to do 2 more trades, one for a Lickitung and one for a Tangela, giving me another 2 achievements. I take on the fire gym with Raichu, Poliwrath, Hypno and Nidoking. I am quite underleveled, but with a Rain Dance Surf Poliwrath, it was quite simple. Blame was defeated and I was up 2 more achievements. Bill then takes us to the Sevii Islands and we meet a guy wanting to be able to create a machine that can trade with Hoenn, but that's not important for right now. Bill wants me to take a meteorite shot to a guy he knows, but by the way, I cannot even access my own PC yet, so I'm stuck with only 4 of my 6 Pokemon. I explore Island 1 a bit more, finding Mount Ember. I decide to climb it, finding Moltres. There was an attempt to catch it, but let's just say it wasn't even worth your time watching because I failed miserably. I then head to Island 2, and the guy Bill wanted me to give the meteorite to says that a girl he knows has gone missing. It's not his daughter or even a family member, so it's kind of weird. But moving on, this biker guy says something about the 3rd island, so I go and check it out. The biker gang was harassing this town. I defeat them in battle, making them leave. And for some reason, on this island specifically, I can access my Kanto PC, so yippee. Making my way to Berry Forest, I find the girl who's getting attacked by a Hypno, and I never realised how strange this story is until now. Returning the girl though gives me an achievement. I then hand the meteorite shard to the man and head back to Bill, where he thanks me and takes me back to Kanto. I then head straight to Giovanni to take on the gym with 5 of my Pokemon. I have so many good types against ground, so Giovanni was not an issue, gifting me with 2 more achievements and disobanding Team Rocket. On the way to the league, I take on my rival, and for the first time since the start, his starter actually beats me. On my second try, it comes down to my Poliwrath and his Charizard, and with 1 final surf, I win, gifting me another achievement. But I then realised how underleveled I was, so before Victory Road, I head to the power plant to battle and capture Zapdos, which I do on my first try. This also gives me an achievement. I do the same for Articuno on Seafoam Islands, gifting me, once again, another achievement. But Articuno is going to be extra important for the league. I'll explain that a bit later. I then head back to Mount Ember to capture Moltres and to get revenge on it, and this time it was a lot easier. I did it on my first attempt. This gives me another achievement. I now head to Victory Road. With the legendary birds in my party, Victory Road stood no chance, Articuno being an MVP for this, and it is now time for one of the hardest achievements in this game. I can only use 1 Pokemon for the league. You heard that right. Only 1. How am I going to do this, you may ask? Maybe thinking I'm going to overlevel, but no, I'm not. I'm going to be using Articuno injected with special items. Luckily, Articuno is great against a lot of the league with its typing, so with a few X special attacks, it made this a lot easier. It made easy work of Lorelei, Bruno, Agatha, and definitely Lance. But here's where things took a turn. Against my rival, this would have been so easy if it wasn't for one move. Sand Attack. It lowers the 1 stat I cannot boost and cannot change because I didn't buy any items for it. And with moves like Blizzard with low PP and low accuracy, this would be nearly impossible. But on my 3rd attempt, I got so lucky because I managed to get a few X special items off. I wiped out all of his Pokemon except Gyarados. I started to run out of PP for moves and I kept missing because I got hit with a few Sand Attacks at the start. I then thought it was over because I ran out of moves and I started to struggle. But because of my X attacks that I did, it nearly did half of his HP and it barely did any recoil. I also set up some double teams in the beginning and Gyarados could not even hit me. Gyarados then ran out of PP and started to struggle as well. This battle lasted so long, but my 37 HP Articuno won it for me, rewarding me with 2 achievements and beating the game. but it's not over yet. We get the national dex from Oak, and I start to evolve all the stone Pokemon evolutions to help with the dex later on. I then do 2 more trades, one for Electrode and one for Seal, which gives me another 2 achievements. I can't get into Cerulean Cave just yet, so I head back to one island where Bill's friend wants me to help with his machine. He explains that we need 2 gems, a ruby and a sapphire. I head to Mount Ember, and Team Rocket is still here for some reason, and I defeat them both. I head into the Team Rocket cave and find the ruby just sitting there. I then start to explore other islands, and on the 4th island I meet my rival again, but I'm just gonna say this, he does genuinely nothing throughout this whole post game. I then head into Icefall Cave, where I finally start to be able to catch Gen 2 Pokemon. After that, I meet Lorelei fighting Team Rocket, and when I defeat them, this gives me another achievement, and also the location of the Rocket hideout on the 5th island. I then head to Island 5 to try and get into the hideout, but I can't just yet since I need another part of a password. On Island 6, I explore around finding some cool Johto Pokemon, and then I find a cave with Braille on it. It translated to cut, and I do as it says, and the door just opens. I then have to follow a path, which is up, left, right, down, and I find the sapphire. But just when I'm about to grab it, this guy comes in and just steals it and says he's gonna sell it to Team Rocket. But this is the guy who then gives me the second part of the password to get into the Team Rocket hideout. This makes 0 sense. With the password complete, I head back to the Rocket hideout and start to take out some grunts and find the admin. After defeating the admin, I take on the guy who stole the sapphire. This rewards me with another achievement and the sapphire. I give the sapphire back to Bill's friend, and he even cries because of how happy he is, which is interesting. With the post-game beat, I head on to Route 2, just outside Pewter City, to do the legendary dog repel trick. I find Entei because it's based on the starter Pokemon you pick and what type is good against your starter. I Master Ball it simply because it can run away, and I was planning to capture Mewtwo with an Ultra Ball anyways. This gives me another achievement. To get my next 2 achievements, I head to 5 Island, where in Lost Cave, I find Silph, I think that's how you pronounce it, and help her get home, which gives me another achievement. And once again, on 5 Island, I head west and get a Togepi egg from this man, gifting me the second achievement. With all that complete, I stack up on Ultra Balls, Max Repels, and head into Cerulean Cave. I find Mewtwo on the bottom floor, and on my first attempt, I manage to capture him, gifting me another achievement. For this next achievement, I have to now rematch the Elite Four and Champion with only 1 Pokemon, so I obviously choose Mewtwo. I stock up on special items, healing items, and also change his moveset for a bit more coverage. And let's just say the Elite Four got destroyed easy. I'm using a Mewtwo, and it took me a couple of attempts on Blue because of his stupid Alakazam and Tyranitar, but I once again managed to beat him, gifting us 2 more achievements. Now all that's left is the Trainer Tower challenges and collecting every Pokemon in Fire Red you can get without trades. The Trainer Tower is quite simple. There are 4 different modes: single, double, knockout, and mix. Single are single battles with trainers, doubles are double battles, knockout is 3 trainers back to back to back, and mixed is just a mix of the 3 of them. There are 8 floors with trainers you have to beat, and their Pokemon level matches your highest level Pokemon. The singles were easier, nothing much happened when you have a Mewtwo, but this trainer had a shiny Meowth. Oh yeah, they can just carry random shinies, which is great. And this rewards me with another achievement. The reward you get from the owner is just items you use in trade evolutions like a metal coat, so it's not really important to me. The double battles were next, and they were once again pretty simple, and this one trainer had a shiny Espeon. It was just a bit more time consuming, but it did give me another achievement. The knockout one was very difficult, so I decided to money grind on these 2 trainers on 5 Island, since with an amulet coin they give around 20,000 Pokédollars each. I used this money on the game corner TMs for Mewtwo, and I also got a Porygon, which is cool. After changing Mewtwo's moveset with higher PP moves, I did manage to beat it, gifting me one of my last achievements. Mixed is the final Trainer Tower battles. It was very simple, a lot easier than knockout, and it gave me my second last achievement. So now we are on our final achievement to collect all the Fire Red Pokemon, and I'm not gonna lie to you, this took a while. I hunted for Gen 2 Pokemon. I evolved Gen 1 Pokemon using these 2 trainers on the 7 Island. They give great EXP, and there's also a healing place right next to them. I also had to breed for every baby Pokemon, evolve Pokemon like Hitmonchan, Hitmontop, and after many hours all I had left were 2 Pokemon: Larvitar and Dratini. I spent multiple hours just grinding EXP until finally Larvitar evolved into Pupitar, and then Pupitar evolved into Tyranitar. All that was left was to get Dragonite. First Dratini evolved into Dragonair, and then Dragonair evolved into Dragonite. This gave me my final achievement and completing the game. I headed up to Mount Ember. It felt like a good place to end this incredible journey, and that is how I got every Pokemon Fire Red achievement. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye for now.